I'm Toni Preckwinkle, Chair of the Cook County Democratic Party, and I'd like to welcome you to the 80, our podcast about the party, its candidates, and its leaders. We're beginning the podcast by interviewing our elected Democratic committee people to discuss their backgrounds and thoughts about the history and future of our party. Today, I'm excited to welcome Patricia Joan Murphy. Trish. All right, please let us know where Worth Township is. That's the township that you represent in the Democratic Party.
It is, and thank you so much for having me. And this is just a great idea. I love this podcast with the 80 committeemen. I remember growing up, everyone knew what committee people did and what they were, and so it's great. It's a great way to reach out to people. Thank you for doing this. Worth Township is southwest suburbs. Takes them 12 southwest suburbs of Chicago, and the boundaries are 135th Street. On the south, we have Western Avenue, we have 87th Street, and Harlem Avenue. So it's quite a large area, but I'm very proud to represent.
You know, I always begin by asking people how they got involved in politics, Trish. So what's your story?
Okay, thanks for the question. Well, I've been involved in politics my entire life. As far back as I can remember, our dinner conversations around the table were about politics. My mother was involved, the late Cook County Commissioner Joan Patricia Murphy. She was a public servant for over 50 years. She was a real trailblazer and a true public servant in office and out of office. Our house was the house that people came to when they needed some help. And my mom just helped people naturally. And I grew up like that. And so that was my beginning foray into politics. I campaigned with her since as long as I can remember. I remember holding my hand, going to get petitions, and she had all of us kids with her because my father was working, and she'd knock on the door and get her petition signed, and I'd say, "Will you vote for my mom?" So there was a lot of that, and so it went on and on. I was sitting around the table. She was an organizer, a natural organizer, and she got people involved and excited, and along with her elections, but also other elections also, we were always involved. And so, but I was always in the background at that point, but I traveled with her a lot, especially the last couple of years of her life. And people came up to me and pulled me aside and would say, "Your mother helped me," or "She helps our community or our church or our business or my cousin's kid," or whatever it is. And she never did it for any accolades. She just did it because that's who she is. And if she could help, she would help in any way possible. And she was trying to get me to run for years. And I always said, I don't want people making up things about me. I can't, I don't want to do that. I'm the idea person. I can get things done behind the scenes. But when I really heard all these stories, and then she said, "I really want you to run because nobody will take care of the people that are constituents like you will. And I know you can do this." And she said, "And then you have to, in order to do it, you just have to get a thick skin, and then you have to develop amnesia." And I said, "All right, I'll do it." You really question what do you want to leave behind when you lose people in your life, So I said, "You know what, you're right. I can do this. I need to do this. It is in my nature." She's like, "You can help so many more people in elected office doing this than you can, like you're trying one person at a time in your business." And I said, "You're right." And so I ran. And that was the beginning of my working as a candidate instead of behind the scenes.
All right. So you got started very early on, and it's kind of a tradition in your family to be involved in politics and engage civically.
It is. I think I remember the first campaign I really remember is passing out nail files for my mother and blue gumballs for Harry Buscherell at the Jewel in Payless.
Blue gumballs, huh?
Blue gumballs, that was his thing. And we got to eat them. So that's why I remember them. And then also after we did that, my mother always cooked. So we never ate fast food. I still don't to this day, but we were rewarded. We got to go to McDonald's. We did that. So we were really excited. We got to go to McDonald's and get French fries. So I do remember that.
All right. Well, let me ask you something.
Mhm.
What do you see as your role as committee person for Worth Township?
So first of all, my run into politics was I ran for Cook County Commissioner to follow my mother's footsteps. I did not win that race, but I also ran for committee person. And I am so grateful to be in this position. I feel like I've had a nice 3-year education so far on everything. And I love being committee person. I love building Worth Township. My role is to build the Democratic organization. It had been kind of dormant for quite a long time. And so it's almost like a rebirth and a rebuilding and getting people involved in our Democratic organization. So it's COVID, of course, has thrown a little damper on that, but I'm working very hard to do that and to get people, it's hard to get people excited and motivated to volunteer and to be involved when they're kind of, especially these days when they're a little disheartened about politics, I think. So I work really hard to bring a positive angle to it and say, if you want something to be changed, you have to get involved and we'll change it. And so we're very welcoming. Everybody's welcome. And I'm meeting people and talking politics. I remember when I was a kid, everybody wanted to be a part of the organization. I remember Harry Busharell called a meeting, 200 people would show up, and then people were fighting to be a precinct captain, or they wanted to be part of the ground game. Everybody wanted to be involved. And I'm trying to bring that back. I want to bring that back. And also what I want to do is find good qualified people that live within Worth Township to run for office and show them. Like when with my business, I had an entrepreneurial incubator, and if I took people that worked for me and took them to New York. They went to trade shows. They had to learn they could buy something. They had to learn how to market it. We did this whole big program, and then they were responsible for the product from beginning to end. And it was really successful. And some of them went off and started their own businesses. So I would like to have the same thing within Worth Township Democratic Organization. I promote that. Come in. Well, don't say you don't know how to run for office. You can't. Come in, we'll show you how to do it. And we'll have a political incubator within Worth Township Democratic Organization. Because people, it's exciting when you sign up somebody to vote and they register to vote, they vote for the first time, and then they tell me that, and the pride in their voice, and they're so excited. And that motivates me.
All right, that's a good thing. What do you hope to see from the Cook County Democratic Party to support you, or positions that you want us to take? And then let's talk a little bit about the national level too. Let's start with the Cook County Democratic Party.
Sure. Well, the Cook County Democratic Party, I think with all of us, when we were talking about the elections and stuff, I really believe I think we all need a little healing and building bridges and getting together and really finding our common goals. And I think communication, what you're doing with us, and communication with all the other committeemen to really work together and lift all of us up, I think is very important. So that we can, with ourselves and as a nation, we can there's a little division within our party as well. I mean, the campaign to divide was successful, and it's going to take a lot of work to undo that damage and to get people to really see each other again. And I think within our own party too, we need to do that and really just come together and build on this momentum that's happening with the Democrats. And I think that we can do that. I think there's a bright future, and we can all grow from it and really get people elected into office that share our views but understand everybody's views and move forward for the good of the people.
Okay.
Kind of taking the politic part out of it and really getting into I think people are just losing a little with politics and saying, this is why we're here. This is what we want to offer. This is what we can offer. This is how we can help you. And we're in it for you, not for us. And I'd like to find people that to run for office that feel that way as well.
Okay. All right. What do you hope to see from the Biden administration? We've endured, suffered through whatever,
Yeah.
4 years of President Trump. What do you hope to see from the Biden administration?
Well, first of all, couldn't be happier at the outcome, and I was very excited to see so many people willing to come out to help for the first time, to vote for the first time, to hear the voice for the first time. I think that with the Biden administration in there, we have opportunity, and they have opportunity to keep this momentum going, to really embrace things that came up during the last 4 years, during his election, the inclusive and the I'm losing my words here, but having every inclusivity for everyone and giving opportunity to everyone, and really the spotlight that was shown on how things aren't fair for everyone. And and rhetoric is one thing, but actions is another. And I think that if he implements the programs that were brought up during his election, I think that we will all be better off for it. And I'm excited to help in any way I can with Worth Township.
There we go. What advice do you have for young people who might be interested in either political involvement or maybe running for office themselves someday?
Well, the first thing I would say is come and join Worth Township Democratic Organization or whatever organization from wherever you are. Get involved, because we can help you figure out how to do it, how to run for election, or to see where you would best serve. Some people, I actually had some young woman that came in and she wanted to run for office. And then talking to her, I have many years of interviewing people and hiring people who would stay with me in my business for 15, 20 years and not leave, or leave and come back after college and things like that. So I think I have an ability to kind of see where people really can shine. And we found out that she was more suited actually behind the scenes and was amazing with that, her organization skills and everything else. And so getting those, she's starting out there instead of just jumping right in, so she could learn the process and learn what to do and how to do it and where she wants to be and where she wants to run. And I think just getting involved is the very first step. And I wouldn't discourage anyone. I think that it can't hurt you to come in and just be involved and try.
I think just about every Democratic organization in the city welcomes volunteers.
Yes.
Anybody who's interested can just contact our committee people, right? And,
absolutely.
And we've got another election cycle coming up in 22, which will start circulating petitions this late this summer and fall. So this is a perfect time if you have an interest in politics to get started.
And it's a perfect time for sure. We have municipal elections coming up, and even though in Worth Township we didn't have any primaries this time, but we have the April 6th election, and we have we're still going to get the vote out. We're still with our message, or we're trying to register people. We're trying to get the vote out message there, because I want to keep this momentum going and keep people that came to vote for the first time in November, that they vote every single election. Especially one thing that my mother used to say was the biggest changes happen in local levels, in local politics. And it's true. And then people can have such a big impact by running and getting involved in their local governments and their local school boards and in municipalities, and go to the meetings. And it's so important you could complain about it and say, how does this get done, or how does that get done? Or you can learn how it gets done and then be a part of the process. And I think that's awesome. And we're really focused on building that way as well.
All right. Well, listen, I want to thank you for joining us for this episode of the 80, and we wish you well in Worth Township.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And I'll see you in the next podcast.
All right. Thanks, Trish.
Bye.